Hello, my name's Michael Keneally and this is the video for our Starwheel Astrology and Healing newsletter for January 2020, and I'm filming it from a beautiful sunny day in the lovely west of Ireland. And I'm going to start with the key spiritual imperative of the current vastly powerful Saturn-Pluto conjunction with its very long-lasting effects in our lives. But also in this video I'm covering the exceptional energies of many conjunctions, big conjunctions coming up in 2020 that start major new cycles in our lives and in world events. Thirdly, we look at the eclipse for January the 10th, 2020. And then, fourthly, we consider what it means to have Saturn enter Vedic Capricorn on the 24th of January. We mention Mars transiting Vedic Scorpio now, and the fact that Mars is square Neptune on January the 28th. Item 6 is Mercury enters Vedic Capricorn. Item 7 is the Sun moving from Sagittarius to Capricorn. Item 8 is Venus transiting from Vedic Capricorn to Aquarius, with Venus being conjunct Neptune on January the 27th, a very big and important conjunction. And item 9 details the movements of the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto, plus Chiron, the wounded healer, in January 2020. And the final item is detail of the new moon on January the 24th. But please do note that there are actually quite a number of add-on blogs and videos to this January newsletter, because there's such vastly crucial energy at this time. And so see the links to those add-on videos and blogs, there are 7 of them, in the newsletter. Okay, so we start with the major item, which is the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And the key message, in my view, is that we need to take stock of a feeling of tension or imbalance in a particular area of our life. That is the area of life indicated by the house in your Vedic birth chart that is Vedic Sagittarius, and that's where all the action has been happening. And the tension specifically has been caused by the Saturn-Ketu conjunction that has been so violently tense all through 2019. And please hear this, and we must try and really take it in, apply it to our life and act on it. The Saturn-Ketu conjunction destroys and forces us to relinquish anything in our life, our consciousness, our definition of ourself, our scripts and habits that is now antiquated. Ketu smashes at the negative Saturn blocks. The old must die now. And in fact, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction has now arisen. Saturn has moved away from being conjunct Ketu and is now indeed completely conjunct Pluto in this month of January 2020. And that is so different, and it's actually our pathway out of the tension, the imbalance, the wrong definitions and the lack in our life. So think of Saturn as structure and strategy. Think of Pluto as the vast energy of the divine. And so in my previous videos and blogs on the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, I have suggested that each of us now needs to carry forward out of our antiquated Saturn Ketu smashed definitions and habits and consciousness states. Each of us now needs to carry forward the Holy Grail. The container, the Holy Grail, the cup we carry is Saturn. And the contents of the Saturn structure container, the contents of the Holy Grail is Pluto, or atomic energy of power and transformation. At its highest, its connection to the divine. And so I've actually been doing journeys to the abyss for people who've enrolled for them with my colleague Leah Cruz. And that is because so often when Pluto is activated in our life, we need to do a journey to the underworld. We are quite possibly so weighed down by our suffering and our darkness, our blocks, our experience of cruelty and oppression, our secrets and our guilts, that we are too weighed down to be open to the divine light which comes to us through the crown chakra, Kether, in the Kabbalah system. And so when Pluto is activated, as Pluto is now, maybe we have to, for our own good and sanity and beauty and success, do a journey down into the abyss, into the underworld, like the Babylonian goddess Ishtar or Inanna, like the Greek goddess Persephone. We have to do a journey down into the abyss and show Pluto, keeper of the abyss, all our heavy weights of darkness, and ask him to care for them and hear what price he may ask, so that lightened we can then arise out of the abyss, stand fully embodied in our spiritual life purpose, our special talents, our best destiny this time, stand fully embodied on the surface of the earth, and thus much more open to the connection to Pluto as the divine energy of supreme transformation and light, Pluto as Kether, Pluto as the crown chakra. And so really I've been talking about the divine nature of Pluto here. And the whole point is that throughout 2020 and throughout January 2020, please try to be aware not only of the Vedic astrology formula or the psychodynamic astrology formula, but of the divine nature of each planet. Because that is what it will get us through darkness and troubles to our light. That is what will get us through the rather awful energies that are in, well, certainly the United States and the United Kingdom at the present time, with leaders elected during the Kalsarpa Yoga period, divisive and preposterous energy of Kalsarpa Yoga, and the possibility of the mass of the people being led to experience Pluto negatively, the dark face of oppression, lies and war. So we do need to have our way of connecting to the divine nature of each of these highlighted planets, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, Ketu, at this time when all these conjunctions of them is taking place and massive new cycles are starting which need to be understood for me, for you, for humans, for the world political scene, for the world economy scene. So, I have tried to describe the positive manifestation of the Saturn-Pluto energy, but of course it has a negative side. And so negative Saturn is our prisons, our chains, our restrictive scripts. And the negative side of Pluto is the control script that gets very, very nasty. Sorry, the control freak who goes beyond that into very dark situations. And so, to try and visualize the negative side so as to avoid it, so as to be able to examine your life for what is now antiquated and must go, so that you can move upwards and forwards and take part in the great consciousness shift that's being offered now. Imagine going down into your personal Saturn dungeon and you meet negative Saturn there. And my God, you see that he's eating. And what's he eating? He's eating his children. And he breaks off from that terrible destructive cruelty and turns his gaze and leers at you. And he takes you to the prison cells that are in that dungeon one by one. And visualize this: in each of those prison cells languishes the utterly beautiful face of your positive faces of Pluto. Yourself, when embodied with the divine transformative light, trained in Saturn dungeons, which in fact you have created and you keep going, languishes all these beautiful faces of Pluto. And that is the great message of the supremely accurate and powerful ancient myths of Ishtar and Inanna and Persephone. Myths of descent into the underworld, where we have to face our bereftness, misery, darkness and wrongness, so that we can arise. And remember when Ishtar or Inanna made her journey into the underworld, well, she was indeed goddess of the earth, but she ended up in the depths of the underworld facing Ereshkigal, her sister. But having gone through that terrible experience, indeed being hung on a meat hook, the humans then sent a little messenger down to retrieve her. And when she returned to the surface of the world, and this is so important, she was not only goddess of the earth as before, she was also goddess of love. And that message is so important for you and for me at this Saturn-Pluto time, when there may need to be a descent into our personal underworld, where we may need to free the vibrant, positive, fizzing, light, powerful sides of our Pluto. And we may need to dissolve and banish the negative, chain-bearing form of Saturn and meet Saturn in his divine state, instead of being the divine force of patience, hard work, diligence and strategy, the agricultural deity who gifts to us the gift and result of our hard work and our endurance, golden harvest. So have a look in the blog for more detail about what I've been describing, and the next thing that we have to take into account is, well, basically that this Saturn-Pluto conjunction is occurring in Vedic Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. And so we have to understand the divine nature of Jupiter and contact him, maybe put a picture of him on your altar, maybe stand embodied before your altar and bring Brihaspati, Lord Jupiter, into your body and your consciousness, because Jupiter is blessing and sense of purpose and expansion. And he has been containing Saturn, Saturn Ketu, Saturn Pluto, though that is about to change, as you will hear and read on in my blog. So if you look at the chart for January the 1st, you'll see the immense number of planets that start the year in Jupiter's sign of Vedic Sagittarius. Pluto at 28 Sagittarius, Saturn at 27 Sagittarius, Ketu at 14 Sagittarius, Jupiter at 12 Sagittarius, the Sun at 16 Sagittarius, Mercury at 11 Sagittarius. What a pile-up. And what an experience people with Sun, Moon and major planets in Vedic Sagittarius have been having in 2019, especially people with major planets, Sun and Moon, especially in Purvashada Nakshatra. But that time is beginning to pass, and the focus soon shifts to Uttarashada Nakshatra and then to the Vedic sign of Capricorn. That is where the vastness occurs from January 2020. And the other big twist to this is I've mentioned the divine nature of Jupiter, but we need to take into account that the energy of Jupiter is in truth, compromised because Jupiter is transiting conjunct all these malefics, conjunct malefic combinations. There's great inspiration possible in this, particularly when Jupiter's conjunct Ketu. See my video, read my blog on that, one of the add-ons. But we need to make that extra special effort to define in our consciousness and awareness the divine nature of Jupiter, because it's solid and complicated. There are technical little benefits, but they're minor compared to the complications. We need to be able to bring the divine Jupiter into our consciousness by some regular practice. Okay, so my best wishes to you for carrying forward your holy grail of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Because of the complications of life and what Saturn Ketu has been trying to end in your life, it may not be easy and immediately successful to carry forward your holy grail. You may feel, I can't possibly let go of this, that and the other. I have to be like this. I have to have that sort of consciousness. I have to have these blinkers and scripts. But then you will fail to carry the Saturn-Pluto conjunction forward as your holy grail, as I may. And I hope not, but it's not easy. So good luck and deserved success. Okay, item 2 in this very long newsletter for this very huge month is the supremely powerful conjunctions that are coming in. And we will have to navigate the energies of those conjunctions, and we need to be aware of the new cycles that start from those conjunctions. New cycles of planetary energies, which will ideally be divine, but can of course be solid. So, the first one is, to note that the Saturn-Ketu conjunction was meant to demolish the old in our life, because we would feel so unhappy, so tense, that we needed to bring in the new. And that was exact on the 15th of September 2019. I mentioned that loads is happening in Sagittarius, Jupiter's sign, and the Sun and Jupiter were conjunct on the 27th of December, the day after the 26th of December eclipse. And then Jupiter and Ketu are conjunct on the 6th of January at 13 Vedic Sagittarius in Purvashada Nakshatra. And Jupiter Ketu isn't sort of good for worldly things, but it can be very inspirational, can be very good for astrology. That's on the 6th of January. The Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which I've been talking about, will exactly be conjunct on the 12th of January, starting a new 34 to 38 year cycle in your life of Saturn-Pluto combination. It's at 28 Vedic Sagittarius in Uttarashada Nakshatra. And the nakshatras are such supremely powerful guides to our identity, to our emotionally based consciousness. I run a very good course on the nakshatras. It's the recommended second course following my foundation Vedic astrology course. And I also run a foundation course in Western astrology, psychodynamic Western astrology, and evolutionary Western astrology. But having done the foundation work, do move on to my nakshatras course. Okay, the next great conjunction is Jupiter-Pluto. And that can be great success and thank the Lord breakthrough. It's exact on the 4th of April 2020 in the 1st degree of Capricorn in, yes, Uttarashada Nakshatra again. And Uttarashada Nakshatra people are inheriting the time of terrible troubles from Purvashada Nakshatra people. But Jupiter-Pluto could be really, really good for breakthrough and thank the Lord success at this time. So this starts a 12.5 year cycle. The next great conjunction is Saturn-Jupiter, and this is exact on the 21st of December 2020 at 6 Capricorn in, yes, Uttarashada Nakshatra. And this cycle is a